JT from ERRA. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for making it to the stream and chatting with us. I appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Well, I'm going to ask the awkward question first. Because,
I'm so excited.
because everyone will want to know. Did you see my review?
Of course.
You did? Okay.
Well, I commented on it. You didn't even comment back. I was so salty.
Oh, I did? I'm sorry. Maybe I must not have seen it. I apologize.
It's because it's under, my name's Joseph is my real name.
Oh, okay.
But my face is there. It's the,
I see.
It's the 2022 goal, make Finn like one of our songs.
Sorry.
Dude.
I must not have seen that. No, it's not that
funny.
I don't like it.
No,
it's
I'm
not,
going to, here, before you even start,
yeah.
I had no idea that you're going to get blasted by our fan base. And I kind of feel bad.
It's okay.
But dude, so what's funny is I saw that video and I was like, damn, I wish he liked it. Like I wasn't phased. I know how it is. Like I tour with bands all the time. I don't even listen to their music, you know?
Of course not.
You could still like people and not like, the music. And then I didn't even notice that there was like a follow-up video, and I was like, damn, I did actually feel bad. And then you addressed like so many good points in the video. So I was hoping we'd talk a little bit about that today.
Yeah, oh, sure, great. Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah.
You know, because as I've said, so
basically give you a bunch of credit.
So for anybody who is not familiar with what we're talking about, I did a reaction or review of their song Nigh To Silence, and what basically I said was like, this song is good, but I think that they could push themselves and do something a little bit different. That was my feedback on it, but I didn't say it sucked or anything, because I don't think it sucks, and the band is clearly very good. But that was my feedback. The fans were not happy about that; they didn't like it, which is okay. Just the same as I don't have to. I put my opinion out there, and people can think what they want to think about it. But that was my take on it, and it's important to me that anything that I say in a video is something that I would be comfortable saying to the person's face as though they were sitting next to me.
Yeah, of course.
So that's how I think about it. That's where we're at. And yeah, I would love to hear what you think.
I mean, I don't want you to blow smoke up my ass, like I want people to keep it real. Like, and the honesty part is, very important. And this honestly goes back to what you addressed, like in the other videos. Like you have an opportunity to be two different types of channels. You can be the channel that just kind of does click farming, when you just kind of do the popular stuff, or you create an identity for yourself. Like you don't have to like everything, and it's dishonest to your fan base to pretend to like everything. The one thing I do have the biggest bone to pick with is that you put Salt the Wound as an E tier band on your deathcore list. That band is amazing.
Yes, but as I said, E tier is really the A tier, and the S tier is really the E tier. Because like if you think back to those like the MySpace years, it's those kind of like random semi-shitty local bands that you really remember. Can you honestly say that Salt the Wound or Molotov Solution are like all-time great bands? No, but you love them.
Yeah. Like I was readdressing some of like Bury Your Dead's old albums. I'm like, God, these recordings are trash, but the songs are so good. There's always something to find in the love and the things that other people would like consider just dog shit, but who cares?
Recon, another great example.
Dude,
of that.
Recon's so good. So good. What's the something city? Vile City.
Vipers. Welcome to Viper City.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God.
Demolisher is my personal favorite.
Yeah, I saw that.
And Jerome.
Actually, I saw Jerome on that list. I don't really remember that band. I saw Rose Funeral on there. That was cool to see. I was like, damn. Yeah, I was definitely a deathcore kid, and like right when all that shit was really hot.
With those old Fruity Loops drums.
Dude, the t-shirts at Hot Topic, obscene.
Yes. The most important part of MySpace deathcore. Yeah. The obscene slogans. The Salt the Wound one is definitely the best.
Yeah. I mean, if you read their lyrics, it is rough.
I've never read them, but I believe you.
They're fun. It's like we're not really trying to learn much from here. We're just trying to like have a good time type of lyrics.
Right. But yeah, nobody reads Salt the Wound lyrics because they think they're going to be smarter for it.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It is okay.
Sometimes you just want to mosh.
Yeah. I thought about coming in here with like a persona and just be like, so I see my minions have done my bidding. My greatest enemy, Finn.
Well, it's interesting, to my knowledge, I don't know of too many artists that get upset with me because I try to be fair. Maybe there's times where I go too far, and if I do, then I apologize. That's never my intention. But fans do get upset. So tell me about that. Like,
Very
how does
passionate.
it? Which is, I mean, well, let me first ask you that question. I mean, your fans fucking love ERRA. Why do you think?
I don't know.
Which is great. I mean, that means you're doing something right. Why do you think that is that people are so passionate about your band?
I mean, I'm definitely grateful. I said this actually. I've crammed a bunch of interviews until like the last 2 days because I've been just ignoring my emails like the great artist that I am. So something I said earlier was fuck, what was I gonna say? I think we do a good job of trying to stay like normal people and trying to create like an environment where we're accessible and we're not too different from you. Like we don't ever want to feel like you're not worth our time of day. Like we're very grateful for everybody that we meet, all the nice things people have said about us and do for us. So we try to like keep that in check. And like I know this sounds like cheesy, but like we really do it for them. So we try to keep that. Yeah, we like as Chat says, we try to stay down to earth. We're normal ass people. We know we're not trying to be rock stars. We're not trying to like flex on anybody or any of that shit. We're here to enjoy our jobs. We love what we do. We love making music. We try to stay as like I'm always at here with everybody. Like it's never like disproportionate. I don't want anybody to ever feel that way. So maybe they can sense that. Like we're definitely not like a shtick. Is that the term? Or a gimmicky band, or like just normal metalcore dudes trying to make music, trying to have a good time. Other than that, I don't know, man. Like I'm 32, like I feel disconnected as ever. I don't get a lot of the things that happen.
Well, I mean, there's definitely something there. I think people who are fans of your genre, which, we'll call it progressive metalcore, whatever, the people who are into that stuff are really, 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 really into it. And I think that there's something there. You could take a band like Godsmack sells a fucking absurd amount of records, right? Like they have like 8 platinum albums or something crazy like that.
Really? Damn.
Yeah, look it up. It's ridiculous.
Wow.
They're like massive, or
I like Godsmack.
Yeah, they're a good band. Or Shinedown, like gigantic. But have you ever met anyone in your life that's like a Godsmack fan? Right?
At a Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of like it's interesting how there's these genres like we'll call it butt rock, where the audience is huge, but nobody is obsessed with Godsmack. I mean, I'm sure there's some weirdo out there that's got a tattoo of Sully on their chest, or something. Like, that's my boy, it's my man. I'm gonna show him this someday. And then on the other hand, there's genres like yours, which is a lot smaller, but the people who are into that stuff just fucking live and die for it.
Yeah. I think they feel like super connected to it because it's small and like niche, and they don't want it to be like bastardized or adulterated by like the general population. And I think that's why they feel so connected to it, because they feel like it's more accessible to them because it's like small and the community is like smaller or something like that.
Right. Well, I want to make sure we talk about the album because we gotta promote. So I have some questions about it too. So you have the Deluxe album coming out soon. What can you tell us about that?
So it's the 12 original tracks from the self-titled plus 7 new songs. One of them is an additional version of one of the self-titled tracks, which is Vanished Canvas, that features Courtney LaPlante from Spirit Box. And then we did 6 additional songs. 3 are originals and 3 are covers. And all of that comes out on March 18th, I think, through UNFD.
Got
And
it.
we rolled
So
out the Stockholm Syndrome cover yesterday. Or was that today? Is that yesterday?
I think
I
it
don't
was
know.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Well, the deluxe edition thing has gotten a little bit more traction in the rock world lately. You know, the people in rap have been doing it for a while. What led you to do that versus putting these songs out as an EP or whatever else you could have done?
That's a good question. I'm not really sure why we chose to do the deluxe over the EP. I'm more. That might be a better question for like Connor or Jesse in the band. But I will say this: we went once we found out how everything was like being delayed still, and quarantine was just kind of putting a damper on everything. Still, we didn't know our timeline for anything. I mean, the self-titled record got pushed back 6 months. It was supposed to come out September of 2019.
Was that because of vinyl or?
No, it's because of COVID. Yeah, COVID.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we recorded the self-titled March of 2020. The last day of the studio, we like the next day, like we were finding out like within the last 3 days of the studio that this pandemic was like becoming a wide problem.
Yeah,
And
March
then-
was like right
Yeah.
before it all popped off.
Yeah, the last day of the studio was the last day that they had like real bands in there, like doing full time, and now that studio is gone.
And
crazy.
In the press release, you talked about kind of making the most of the downtime, and tell me if I'm right or wrong about this, but I feel like the bands that sort of tried to wait it out and pretend like things were going to go back to normal took a hit, but the bands that said, all right, we don't know when this is going to be over, we're going to make the most out of this, I feel like they had a lot of success. And I do feel like the last 2 years, you guys really leveled up. Do you
Yeah.
agree with that?
Yeah. One thing that we did do that I think made the biggest difference. I mean, I'm very proud of the music that we wrote, and I think it's our best work. But you know, the fans will decide. We made sure to address a lot of other things that I feel like we were lacking, and that with that came like a new logo. We got a bunch of new people on our team to kind of take care of like the bigger, like perceived to be bigger band stuff. So we got like selected color palettes, just more of like the creative and artsy side. We dove way harder in than we ever have before, and we try to create kind of like a universe around the music that accompanies the music to kind of give it more of an identity, which is I feel like something we always lacked. Again, like it'll be up for the listener and the the fan base to kind of decide if that's effective or not. But I really like what we're doing, and it helps us. It makes it easier to kind of like know what to select to for future things when we're making like ad mats and merch ideas and like what type of artistic liberties we should or shouldn't take when we're making stuff for the band. So I think that's helped kind of steer some directions in that regard.
So how are you making those decisions now versus how you did it before?
Well, just with more like scrutiny, really, just like a higher standard. Like, is this like a step up? Like, we're trying not to be, and it's like a super saturated market. We got to do everything we can to not stand out. Like, there's a lot of really good metalcore bands that sound similar to us. So if we can do any small thing it is to like make a difference to like gain another fan, whether it's one or two or hundreds, I'm going to try my best to do so, you know?
It's interesting, you know, I mean, that's how you would hope every artist is in the studio, but it's interesting that they don't always hold themselves to that same standard with the rest of it. And maybe because they think that the music is the only thing that should matter, you know, and then you see them just kind of churn out these generic ad mats with kind of half-assed merch. And it's like, well, why would it, I mean, especially in metalcore, some of these bands like Silent Planet and stuff are really fucking good at that stuff now.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would anyone buy your mediocre merch? Not you specifically, but, you know, your hypothetical band's merch when there's people like Silent Planet out there putting out this fantastic product.
There's the side where I feel like they'll buy anything just to support them because they love them. but then there's also the side where like you have to think like a business. Like there's, you know, I'm 32, so there's certain things like when TikTok came out, I was like, ain't no way I'm getting on that. Or like, you know, God, like another social media that I have to keep up with. But like,
Right.
it's so important, as you know, like you have to do all these procedures and things like you have to create your thumbnails for all your videos. You have to create sub content from Twitch to make on your other channels. Like there's a shitload of work that's involved. And if you disregard all what looks like unimportant things, that you're just missing out on opportunities to expand your business. And once you kind of treat your band like that, you realize that you're missing out on a lot of things. And I think that was one of the things that was the perspective that was kind of placed on us. Like, all right, we're making better music, but like, what else are we missing? Like, are there things that we could be doing that we're not doing? And I feel like we're doing a good job of that. And would like to stay on that track, but definitely putting the ceiling on us is something we don't want to do. You know, we got to stay creative. We got to think of ways to like be different. We release singles, instead of like talking about the song, we just put out the tabs and we let people figure out what the song was going to be just by the tabs. So like little ideas,
that's interesting.
Little ideas like that, I feel like make a big difference. And I don't know, it seems to be working. I'm not mad about it.
That's such a particularly smart idea for your band, because, you know, you got to figure that
I didn't come up with it.
Well, hey, well, it may not be your idea, but I think it's a good one, because you got to figure that for your band, a huge percentage of your fans are guitarists. You know, so that's the sort of thing, you know, Drake, you know, couldn't do that.
No, right.
But, you know, a band like yours can do that, and it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's a really cool way of sort of showing your fans that you understand who they are, too.
Sure.
You know, that you guys are guitar nerds that write weird sexual comments on Misha's Instagram when he posts his new signature guitar.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so like, I don't know. The fans teach us stuff too. Like, there's so many things that I think are going to be dumb or not going to work, and like they're super effective. And you know, I need their perspective too sometimes. Like I do the best I can to try to stay connected and understand how things kind of work and operate, but it's really the experience that dictates how it really goes.
Yeah, it's, you know, I do the same thing, and it's a new day every day. You know, what worked yesterday, no guarantee that's going to work tomorrow. I mean, think about how many bands built their fan base on MySpace or Facebook and really fell off because they clearly didn't adapt to the next thing.
Right.
You know? And it is exhausting, and I know people wish that you lived in a world where all you needed to do was make music, and then, you know, everything else would fall into place. That would be cool, but that's not the world we live in. You know, you got to be a creator, you got to be a marketer, you got to be a publicist, you got to be all those things. You can't just sit in your room and play guitar and hope that everything's going to come together.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It's overwhelming.
It is, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, I know. You gotta wake up and eat your Wheaties and drink your caffeine, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you've been doing the press thing for a couple of days, and I mean, even that's tiring, you know, especially because most interviews, unlike this one, which is a great interview, most interviews, you know, they ask you the same questions, and you can tell they've never really listened to the band, or, you know, there's a lot of them like that, and it's tiring. And, you know, is it the worst? It's not, obviously it's better than having a real job, but, you know, even just sitting there and talking to people on Zoom for a few hours a day is tiring.
Yeah. I mean, Elden Ring came out today. I could be playing Elden Ring.
You could be getting frustrated and throwing your fucking controller against the wall.
That's absolutely what's about to happen tonight.
Yeah, I've never gotten into those games because I just
you don't
know
hate your
that I
life?
would be. Yeah, exactly. I don't hate myself. I know that I would just get pissed off and frustrated by it. I respect it, but I know that I wouldn't enjoy it.
See, that's the model. You respect it, but you don't have to like it.
It's a weird thing for people. It's like, I don't understand that part of music fandom of like, if you say anything that isn't just pure unadulterated gushing praise, then that means you're quote unquote shitting on it, and people are going to attack you. It's such a strange thing.
I mean, if I don't like, I was honestly excited to get on here with you because I don't know you, and I already like you, but and I like your content. But if I did interviews and I talk with like, people that do like media journalism or whatever it is, and they're constantly just praising, and they're not testing me as a person, they're not testing me as an artist, I'm never gonna learn anything. And it's also never going to be a teaching moment for me. If it's like always the same thing over and over, I can't like gain anything new from that. And like you said, the shit gets exhausting. It's like the same thing over and over. If I get a spicy Thursday night, I'm all in.
And you don't. I forget who said it, but somebody told me a long time ago when I was just kind of starting to get some traction on YouTube. They told me, don't listen to all the negative comments, but don't listen to all the positive ones either. Because there's going to be people that are going to tell you that you're great and everything you do is perfect and wonderful, and they're wrong too.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself how it is.
Yeah, and it's tough, and you got to learn who to listen to and who not to listen to.
Yeah.
I think of the way that I communicate to people the same way that like a producer would, because my my quote unquote day job is I don't know if you're familiar with Nail the Mix, but like I'm part of that. So
really?
We've actually worked with I'm one of the partners in that. So we've worked with Carson and Grant before a couple times.
Oh my god, I love them so much.
Well, who were the guys that recorded
your
latest stuff?
Yeah.
So when you go into the studio with those guys, they're not going to tell you that your first performance was great if it wasn't great.
No. And I trust them to definitely tell me when it's not good enough.
Yeah, and you might be frustrated and pissed off and tired, and you really just want to fucking call it a day because you don't feel like you have another take in you, but they're not going to let you go home until they get the take.
We call that boot camp. I love the boot camp because like it gives you an opportunity to improve on yourself, and you're always your own worst enemy. But it's good to have people in your corner that are going to be like real with you and tell you like that you can do better because it's better for you in the long run.
And everybody needs coaches. Everyone needs to be pushed. Like, think about Olympic athletes. These are some of the most driven people on the fucking planet. Mm-hmm. They have coaches too.
Yep.
Because even they need someone saying, I think you can do one more set. I think you got that in you. And and they might not think it, but just like you might not think you had one more take in you, but then you do the take and you're like, okay, I guess I did have it in me. They were right. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a valuable function everyone needs to learn in life. And I find that frustrating. Like, the frustrating part to me is not like, I don't give a fuck if people think I suck and like whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I'm frustrated because it's an annoying part of like society to me that people can't handle criticism.
Yeah.
Especially when it's not even about something they made. Like, you didn't make the goddamn record. You're not allowed to like be offended by this. It's not your fucking music. And they feel like it's their music, and I get that, and like that's cool. I understand that. But you got to be able to learn to take criticism, especially when it's not even about something you made.
Yeah, there's always an opportunity to learn something from those moments too. Like and it's perspective too, because like if you got 5 people telling you you're making great shit, but if you don't have any of the negative criticism, you're not going to know what to like improve on either. Like you can be your own worst critic, but if you don't have outside voices like thinking differently for you, you're not going to learn a damn thing. So that's why, I mean, Jesse and I butt heads in the beginning when we're creating, but like we thrive now together because we've learned how like we are totally different people when it comes to taste and preferences. So like I just try to approach those opportunities like a grown up, or I try to, and try to learn from them. I want to be the best I can at all times in all regards of my life. So like I'm going to use every opportunity I can as a learning experience.
What kind of stuff did you butt heads about?
Well, I'm a sucker for like heavy breakdowns, and I'm like the classic core kid. I was a forum lurker. I love like finding the unknown bands on YouTube. I love a lot of core bands. I'm like fans of most of the bands we tour with. Jesse, who's the primary songwriter, likes like coffee shop music and like country and 90s
Okay.
rock and and he's got me into a lot of the stuff that he likes too. But it's also been nice because like it's a fusion of both worlds. But in the beginning, when you're trying to like figure out personalities and how to record together and how to write together, you know, it doesn't always work nice in the beginning because like it's hard to leave pride at the door sometimes because we're trying to make the best content, but like if there's opportunities where you feel like you're underutilized or there's an opportunity for you to do something that you want to do, but it may not be like the
Right.
best choice and you just want to fight them for it. It's hard to like give in, but you kind of just got to trust the process. Thankfully, we've gotten to a point where like I know his strength, he knows mine. We know how to work together. It's super efficient, and it's like really enjoyable now.
It's such a great thing when you can learn to trust someone who has really different sensibilities than you. You
Hmm.
know, that you're like, what you just said sounds crazy to me,
Yeah.
but I'm going to go with it because you never steered us wrong in the past. And like, that's such a great thing because, you know, then there's someone who you can rely on to do something that you can't.
Hmm.
And that's when the best stuff happens. Like one of the other business partners, he's more of a, like, I'm more of a sort of low risk kind of person. I like to sort of play it safe and just like,
Yeah.
I'm more about let's focus on a small number of things, but execute really well on those. And he
Right.
likes taking kind of big risks. And there's been many times over the years where at first he would propose these things and I thought it was stupid. That'll never work. That's crazy. No one would want that. Um, but we did it and it did work out. And now I've realized, okay, this is good. He can help me and by the same token, there's times where I said this is never going to work and it didn't. And I was right. But we've learned now to sort of respect that. If I say, hey man, I think we're biting off more than we can chew, he'll listen to me. And I've learned that he can help me push out of my comfort zone and take risks that I might not be comfortable with, but should be taken.
Yeah. Again, that's definitely a leaving pride at the door thing. It's like it's when it's hard to like decipher like what's the right choice when you feel like it's only down to somebody's opinion. But you know, you gotta make the effort, and you have to fail before you realize that there's more opportunity at stake. You know.
So you're the one you come to practice and you're like, listen, I was listening to the top 10 Bermuda breakdowns in 2008.
Great
I
van.
think we
Hell
got to do
yeah.
something like that. He's like,
Dude.
I was thinking more like Casey Musgraves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, yeah. Like, I'm like, oh, what if we do this here? And there's been plenty of times where he's like, we're never doing that ever. And I'm just like, oh. But yeah, it's funny. Like when you join a band, you like, it's speed dating for friendship. Like you don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you have no idea what those people are going to be like to live with all the time. But eventually they
And
just
you're
become,
living with them in a fucking van.
yeah, they're your family. Like
Unless you guys are on
whether
a
you like
bus.
them
I
or
don't know.
not,
But
we're
yeah,
getting there. We're getting there.
buses are expensive.
They are exactly, and you know, metalcore makes some money, but not. There's always more to be made.
Well, and it's like even if you can't afford it, do you want to put that money in the pocket of the bus
Right.
company every day, or would you rather kind of
Or your
tough
own
it out in a
pockets.
van and come home with that money in your pocket?
Yeah, I would be in a van my whole life if I could choose. But we're running out of space. As we grow, we get more crew, and that's really what it comes down to. It's just expanding, so you can have your whole camp with you.
Right, right. Well, speaking of tour, you guys are going out soon with Beartooth, Silverstein, and the Devil Wears Prada. So this is your first tour in probably 2 years, right?
No, we did August Burns Red tour in the fall.
Oh, you did. Okay,
For like it was ABR, Fit for a King, us, and like Moss of Flames.
got it. Okay, so your second tour in a while.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you shook the rust off on the ABR run, or are you still
Yeah.
kind of you did? Okay,
No, it
so you're
felt
feeling good about this one.
when we first got in there, I was like, well, it had been 2 years since I've been on stage, so I felt like I was relearning everything. And then
Yeah.
at the same time, we were doing our most popular songs and you know, the things we're most proud of. So like it felt like definitely more pressure, but it ended up being fine. And then I'm now singing, which I like was super nervous to do, and I still feel like I have so much room for improvement. So yeah, like I'm very hard on myself. So and I I know how long people waited for those songs to come out and then eventually see them live. So I'm like, fuck, this has got to be amazing, or else they're never gonna come see us again. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, more of that. So that's cool, and I do hope eventually we can start to like interact with our fans, because there was a lot of like restrictions still. Like we waited all this time to put this music out, and we can't even talk to anybody about it. It really sucks. Like
Yeah.
I'm not
My
there
friends are
like to
starting
feed my ego, but like I want to know like if it's working, you know?
Sure. Well, yeah, and it's just more fun when you get to see people. Now
Yeah,
it's
it
like
makes me
my
feel
friends are
better.
starting to come through town again. And I'm like, oh, cool. And they're like, yeah, but we can't hang out.
I know.
Oh,
There was a lot of
all
that.
right. Do you know what the situation's going to be on this Beartooth tour yet?
It'll be up to the headliner. On the second half of the tour, there was like Live Nation restrictions. So any of the venues that are Live Nation, they'll have their own. But then it's really up to the tour. I'm assuming they'll be relatively smart about it and impose some sort of like tour isolation, or just like general rule of thumb. We had to postpone a week of shows during the ABR tour, and we were stranded in Colorado Springs for like 10 days,
Oof.
and we lost a lot of money because of that. So
I'm
we're
sure.
hoping to avoid that.
Yeah, the bubble stuff sucks shit, but at the same time, the alternative is canceling
Exactly.
dates, and that's way worse.
Exactly. Yeah. So we kind of got to eat shit for a little bit longer, and I mean, I'm used to it at this point. I'm fine with it. The alternative is not worth it. So whatever we have to do to get through a successful tour again, I'm down.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk a little bit about the studio stuff, since we have worked with Carson and Grant, and they're fantastic. Can you talk a little bit about specifically working with them and kind of what you liked about that experience?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but before ERRA, I was in a Lancaster band called Texas in July, and they were a band.
Oh, no, I didn't know. Okay, so you
Yeah.
probably know those guys from way back then.
So I joined Texas in July in 2013, and I did just their last record with them, Bloodwork,
Oh,
which
okay.
was done with Carson and Grant. So they were the first time I was really with professional producers. So to come back there like several years later with a whole different band was so cool to me. I love full circle shit like that.
Yeah.
I learned so much from them in that experience in 2014 when that happened. It's just I love how like small world it can feel sometimes, and to bring back ERRA, who I'm very happy to be part of and very proud of, and connect them with another part of my life or another good memory, and like introduce like a part of my family to another part of my family was really
Right.
cool. I love those guys. They're awesome to work with. Those are the guys that hold you accountable to do great, and that's why I like them.
Yeah, but they're so chill as humans. They're
Yeah.
not, there's some of those just ball buster asshole producers that, it's like, yeah, they might get a great take out of you, but it's not enjoyable,
I've cried. I've definitely cried in the studio, and it wasn't their fault. It was like it was an opportunity to like do better, and it just wasn't coming out, and it was like, oh god, this trash content's gonna be on this forever. I'm trash. Ah, but yeah, you gotta suck it up. You gotta do it for the greater good. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, when you've recorded with quite a few people, I'm sure. What in your mind makes a great producer? Like, if you could like Frankenstein together the ideal producer, what characteristics would that person have, and like how do they interact with you in the studio?
That's a good question. Well, I'm very talkative, annoying even at times. So I like people that can deal with me, first of all. Carson's a pretty goofy guy, and so is Grant. So like, there's a lot of giggling that happens with it in the studio. So basically, the overall mindset is probably the most important to me. Like, we're there to like kick some ass and like write some cool shit, but being able to be comfortable and being, I want to be pushed, but I also want to be like confidently put. I don't want to be pushed like a drill sergeant. I want to be pushed like I'm your friend, and I know what you're capable of, and I know you can be great, and I want to see that from you. And that's what motivates me, at least. Having a comfortable environment, close coffee shop to walk to because we're coffee snobs. Yeah, and definitely somebody that's passionate about your project. You definitely don't want to be in a studio where they're like only there to record you for a paycheck. But thankfully,
Right.
we haven't seemed to deal with that yet.
Or when you pay for them, but you get their assistant.
Yeah, that happened to us once.
Happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit of bait and switch there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, I don't know if you would be able to comment on this, but I had no idea that the band was from Birmingham originally, Birmingham,
Yeah.
Alabama,
Mm-hmm.
of which is I don't know of any other bands from Birmingham. I'm sure there's someone, but I don't know of any.
Gideon, I think Gideon's
Oh, okay.
maybe Alabama, or Daniel's from Missouri, maybe,
Okay.
or Mississippi. He's from Mississippi.
Even
they
lower
make-
tier than Alabama.
Ugh. Not
no.
in education though.
Now, are you from Alabama?
Okay, here's the funny part. I moved down there, and I lived there for 5 years. But I just moved back to Maryland, where I live now, in July. So I'm back home.
Got it.
Good
Okay.
riddance.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting to me is that it's proof that you can make it from anywhere, because I think there's sort of this idea. I mean, and Lancaster, PA, same thing. I mean, that's fucking Amish country. There's like people probably hear that August Burns Red is from there, and they think that there's cool shit there, and there's not. There's nothing there. And I'm very interested in people who are doing cool shit from uncool places.
I mean, we have, Alex and Sean still live there. I moved down there, and then I moved back. Our bass player Connor lives in Oxford, PA, which is like an hour from Baltimore, where I live. And then Jesse actually moved to LA. He went from Birmingham to Nashville to LA. So we actually don't even really need to have Birmingham as home base. We still rep Birmingham for sure. It's a comment. It's like, I like Birmingham. I like Birmingham too. It was the other part of Alabama that has nothing to do with what we're talking about that made me wanna
Birmingham's
leave.
like a college town, right?
Yeah, UAB. I mean, Birmingham's fine. It's the rest of Alabama that's rough, and it's like, I mean, people know how it is. It's the deep South, so
Right.
it's not for everybody. No, it's. I didn't have the worst time, but like I was definitely happy to come home.
Right. Well, Baltimore, Are you from Baltimore?
No, I've never lived in the city. This is my first time being a true city boy. I was a suburbia guy forever.
I've spent a decent amount of time in Baltimore. Where are you originally from?
Just a county south of here, Anne Arundel County. I lived kind of all over. I spent a lot of time living in Annapolis, the capital.
Okay.
I worked, did a lot of boat and like marina work, some pool work throughout the years.
Well, I've spent a lot of time in Frostburg.
Wait, why?
My ex-girlfriend is from there.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would go out there for like family, events and stuff like that. She grew up with Brendan from Circus Survive, who's from out there also.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah,
Nice.
so
I didn't know that.
Go to Thanksgiving with him and stuff back in the day.
And I saw you mention Abacab on that ad last too. So
That's right. Yeah.
It's a Tyler Green. I saw a lot of Tyler Green when I first started doing being involved in this scene. It was kind of cool.
Are they from Maryland or Virginia?
I think Virginia, but there's a venue in Springfield that was called Jack's that became Empire, and that's even now gone. But like when I first started to go to shows and be involved like in the touring scene, I saw him a lot. He worked for Out of Loop Management.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the good old days, the glory days.
Yeah. Well, and so now you're, one of these distributed bands. It feels like that's a pretty common thing these days of, the band members live all over the country and you make it work.
Yep.
What are the keys to making that kind of an arrangement work for you?
Planning your flights before the last week for sure. So again, it's like, we're a very involved band. We do we try to self-manage the best we can. We have a massive team and awesome managers and dedicated people, but if we can do anything ourselves and try to become more self-sufficient, it saves money and we get more out of it anyways. We're just more involved, more ear to the street type of vibe.
Right.
But yeah, like thankfully as the band grows, it allows us to live where we want and be happy. That was like a big reason why I moved. I wasn't happy in Birmingham and I wanted to go back home. There was a time in quarantine where I was like, am I just missing out on years like of my parents still being alive that I don't know about? Like I would hate to come back a year later and realize like my parents are now sick and I spent most of my time being away from them. I think that's just something that happened
Right.
as I got older. But yeah, you got to just, it's all planning. A lot of Excel spreadsheets and shared Google calendars to make everything work. Got to stay organized.
That's right. Yeah. Musicians' worst nightmare is hearing you got to stay organized. Like, oh,
Yeah,
shit.
I'm very organized. I'm super anal retentive, so I'm totally about it.
Yeah. I would not function without my calendar.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you go because I got another interview here in 20 minutes that I got to get set up for. But any words of wisdom or closing thoughts or whatever you want to leave the people with before I let you go?
Leave it alone. No, I mean, I think what you're doing is great. I love this new wave of like reactions and like, I mean, I think the best thing that came out of quarantine was people like kind of got back on the internet and started to like listen to music again. And I feel like throughout, oh, thanks for the shout out, Narc. I feel like throughout quarantine, people were just the numbers for streaming just skyrocketed. Everybody like grew. Like I think this is even something that you said as one thing thrives and people are supported, like everybody kind of comes up with it. So as long as things are being talked about and discussed and opinions are shared, I don't care if they're good or bad. I think it should happen regardless.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your support. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, keep it up.
And hopefully we'll cross paths once you come through Seattle or Portland one of these days.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I'd love to.
Cool. Well, I will talk to you then. And thanks again.
Thanks, chat. See you guys.